It's the 28th, and it's Friday, and it's robots and nonsense. Links with friends.
And the AI section, which is now the focal point of everybody's life, right? I all want to talk about AI. Now, we've learned that GPT-4 is much better than GPT-3, so do we expect GPT-5 to be that much better than GPT-4? Probably. However, I think OpenAI recognizes that they're well in the lead. There's no reason to keep running as hard as they can.
The Verge headline is OpenAI CEO confirms the company is not training GPT-5 and won't for some time. CEO Sam Altman quashed rumors that OpenAI is already developing GPT-5. However, the comments likely won't be much consolation to those worried about AI safety.
Now, we did hear, was the story, I remember there was a story saying that one was in training right now and be ready in December.
Yeah.
I think they were talking about GPT-5, weren't they?
It was, supposedly they walked it back, and it's supposed to be some version of like GPT-4 update something.
Well, that's what this article points out, is that versioning is arbitrary.
Yeah.
So they can make GPT 4.5, 4.6, 4.7. Look what Microsoft does.
Yeah.
So the integer doesn't matter too much. They will keep going probably.
Yeah.
And here's a terrifying headline. We knew it was coming, but you hate to see it because, my God, this is too much. This is too far.
GPT-4 will hunt for trends in medical records thanks to Microsoft and Epic. Generative AI promises to streamline healthcare, but critics say not so fast.
Now, this is that old anonymized medical data. How many times have we heard that lie?
It's anonymized, but if you ask it for a picture of Danny DeVito, it can do it every time.
And, they're going to look for trends in health and try to recognize larger things. But I don't believe that they're not going to be looking at individual things and making judgments there.
Somebody posted a transcript of their chat with GPT-4. There was something wrong with their dog, and their vet was having trouble figuring it out. And they had a subscription to ChatGPT-4. And I don't know if this is real or not. It might be fake. But they posted the transcript of the conversation with GPT-4, and GPT-4 figured out what was wrong with their dog, and it was something really obscure. So they called their vet back and was like, hey, could it be this? And the vet was like, oh, it probably could be that. Let's do some more tests to see if it's that. And it was that.
Another job falls to the AI. Well, Google Bard is not great. They are still trying very hard to deal with this world where they're no longer in the driver's seat. Their search product is threatened because now everything's going to be AI. What are they going to do? They are internally reshuffling to try and defeat this.
Google consolidates AI research divisions into Google DeepMind. And as we'll hear from Sundar Pichai later, Google's really worried about releasing the stuff that they have right now all at once because the world's not ready.
Or, as I would guess, they don't have it.
We're not ready.
But that's not going to stop them from doing what Microsoft has already done, which is apply this to their primary business model. Let's always remember this is the first thing they care about.
Google to deploy generative AI to create sophisticated ad campaigns. I mean, this makes sense. Google has always said, well, the problem with advertising is the ad agencies. They're not very good at using our advertising products and our analytics and our data to do things. And they're not wrong. I mean, most of the time an ad agency puts like 500 kilobytes of JavaScript on your page and then misinterprets the data that they get from that JavaScript. And the ad campaign isn't any more effective than just throwing a dart at a dartboard randomly anyway. This is going to change all that.
And the ad campaigns have you seen the new Budweiser campaign?
Yeah.
My God.
We got to be careful with that.
How do people, no, I'm not talking about that one.
Oh,
I'm talking about the backlash for that one. The one with the Clydesdale? Yeah. Like they said, oh God, we've alienated part of our audience by pandering to this other audience. Let's get back to pandering to the old audience. And it's just so fake and false. Presumably AI will be able to get around that by identifying more about what you personally want.
I saw a meme of the new ad campaign that suggested that the urine from the Clydesdales was where they got the beer, and I thought that was really funny.
It's weird that everybody craps on that product, but they sold a lot of it.
Yeah.
Was that all just marketing?
Hey, yeah. I mean, the marketers get the last laugh.
If so, they really shot themselves in the foot there. And so Google, like we talked about before, with imagers shutting down their API, Twitter, Reddit, one of the reasons is because that data now has value because it can be used to train AI. And more people are going to be trying to lock AI out to get paid to use it. And in some cases, government regulations are ahead of this.
Google calls for relaxing of Australia's copyright laws so that AI can mine websites for information. I had two thoughts when I thought about this. One was the Proctorio guy, where it's like, it's not a copyright violation to follow a link. Canada is crazy for thinking so. But the second thing that I was thinking of was Google is describing how Bing search works, not how Bard works. Because with Bing, you can say, the Bing GPT-4 thing, you can say, hey, Bing, go look at this website and tell me about this. And it will crawl the website and look at it and then give you a summary or answer a question about the content or whatever. And Google is saying that type of thing is not legal under Australian law without naming it, Bing or GPT-4. But as far as I know, Bard doesn't do that.
They probably will.
Well, they probably like for it to.
If they're trying to get this, then that means they're going to do this in every country where they're allowed to.
Yeah.
Right. It is an interesting, because I don't want the AI out there looking at everything, but you make a good point, because if the Canadian guy can do it, then the AI should be, well, I don't know. That's a person versus a machine. Now that we have to get into the Asimov laws. Well, Google, as we said before, they're not in the lead and they're not used to that. They're not comfortable in a position of following. And so now they're trying to explain why they're not in the lead in any way other than we suck at this. They're going into the past here to pull up an old thing when did they stop doing that?
The don't be evil.
That was like 5-6 years ago, right?
Yeah.
But now they're bringing it back because they're saying that, oh, no. It's not that we're bad at AI. It's that this is better for humanity.
How Google's don't be evil motto has evolved for the AI age.
Yeah, they suck at it.
The only way to don't be evil with AI is to have the best AI that has really hard-grained controls in it to not be evil. Unfortunately, we don't know how to do both of those things.
Nor will they try.
I mean, there might be somebody trying. The guy that they fired was probably trying, but everybody else, I don't know.
Now, this is a negotiation tactic. It's pretty transparent for what this is because this is big business. But Samsung is very smart for playing this card because all of a sudden, Bing is probably better, right?
There's somebody crying on the floor of their office at Microsoft. It's like, Bing is better. Finally.
Yeah, that should be cake in the conference room after they read this headline.
Panic at Google is the Ars Technica headline. Samsung considers dumping search for Bing and ChatGPT. From the company that brought you Bixby, I don't think they really have anything to worry about, but a lot of people would probably find something like ChatGPT a more useful assistant.
And when Google comes to the table and says, hey, let's renew our contract so that Google is the default search engine and all the products that you make, Samsung is going to be able to be like, I don't know. We kind of like Bing. Maybe you should lower your prices.
Yeah.
And the AI race to the bottom, I guess, could be a good thing. It's going to give us a lot more choice and free access to these things that we wouldn't otherwise get.
Amazon offers free access to its AI coding assistant to undercut Microsoft. It's Code Whisperer. It generates and suggests code. It's interesting. It has some interesting things that Copilot lacks, because you know how you can sort of ask for code that only occurs once on GitHub, and Copilot will sort of emit the code as is. It's tough to get Code Whisperer to do that.
And Amazon is immediately trying to get AI into the whole AWS platform.
Amazon Bedrock, the easiest way to build and scale generative AI applications with foundation models. So like Instagram, where Instagram was $1 billion company with 13 employees, we might actually see there was some famous economist that predicted that the pivot point, like the high watermark, the social upheaval thing, was when we get to a point where you have $1 billion company that is one person, and things like the Amazon AI thing could probably enable that.
It enables you to do the whole AI thing with tools in the AWS platform without knowing exactly all the steps. It'll kind of walk you through a lot of it, which is interesting. And maybe the newest player into the AI game. Now, Elon Musk famously co-founded OpenAI and then got out of it. Boy, does he regret that. So he's now going to start his own. He's going to take his ball, go home, start his own.
Elon Musk founds a new AI company called X.AI. He says we should do TruthGPT, unironically.
Well, when he announced that, he didn't have any product.
Yeah.
It wasn't until 3 days later that he announced his actual product.
Elon Musk claims to be working on TruthGPT, a maximum truth-seeking AI. His dance card's a little full these days.
Well, he's so multi-talented and has an unlimited amount of energy.
He's going to have to work on the launch pad. The launch pad's a little melted right now.
So he's saying that all AI is biased. I believe that. And he wants an AI that does not have any bias because it doesn't care about any of those things. It is only ever looking for the truth. But in today's world, there are so many truths that are inconvenient and unacceptable. I think he will be pushed back hard here.
I think only scientific truth can be that absolute.
Like biology?
Well, I mean, you know.
I don't think we got that anymore. And here's a man who you can really appreciate his ethics, I suppose. He's a photographer, and he believes in photographers actually being photographers and not robots being photographers.
Artist refuses prize after his AI image wins at top photo contest. They couldn't tell.
So they thought this was like done with just effects, you know, like photography effects or whatever. And that these are actual people. Nope. So
I like how they got the hands right enough that, you know, it wasn't suspect. It's like, no, those are real hands.
So there he is. He did go to the show, but he would not let them pay his way there. And then he turned it down. And the prize was a bunch of photography equipment. He didn't take it. What a guy.
It's like, you need to pick another winner.
He got some good press, though.
Yeah.
And one aspect of AI that is going to be great is the video game aspect. Because now our NPCs...
We're going to have another Half-Life moment.
They will not behave like NPCs anymore, and we're already seeing some glimpses of that.
Surprising things happen when you put 25 AI agents together in an RPG town.
So they let these guys run for a while, and then the player went in and talked about they were going to have a party or whatever. And when they came back, it turned out all the AI people had asked for invitations to the party. They'd gotten dates for the party. They'd planned things for the party, stuff like that. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
Really looking forward to that.
Somebody's got to be working on that right now. AI Dungeon, even though AI Dungeon was only like a GPT-2 or 2.5 model, it was still very engaging and genuinely impressive. And, you know, for like D&D campaigns and things like that, it's going to be...
Yeah, but move that into 3D graphics?
Yeah.
That's totally different.
Yeah.
It's going to be wild. And you alluded to this. We had a bit of a disappointment for Mr. Musk. Now, to be fair, you expect these kinds of things.
Yeah.
How many did NASA blow up?
Yeah, well, not as many as the engineers would have liked.
But you got to think it's going to happen. I don't like Mr. Musk, but we can't really put him down for this.
Reuters headline is Elon Musk's Starship explodes minutes after the first flight's liftoff. But this is fine. Like he said, there's less than a 50% chance that it wouldn't explode. And they got lots of telemetry, lots of data. They melted their launch pad. That was unexpected. There were 3 or 4 or 5 engines that failed, which was also unexpected. And they didn't get separation, which may or may not have been unexpected because whatever. But it did achieve enough lift. Even though it had that many malfunctioning rockets, they were able to maintain control. And they were able to achieve the more than the desired amount of lift, which is impressive.
The explosion wasn't like it exploded unexpectedly. It failed to do what they wanted it to do. And so they have systems on board to like, yeah, let's just scrub that.
Yeah.
So they blew it up on purpose so it wouldn't fall on something. But we'll get it next time. Right?
Yeah. They'll probably, you know, it's just going to be a short walk to the fall probably when they launch the next one, and it's going to be incredible. You remember the old, like the Falcon reusable rockets when those were landing for the first time and they were like falling over or melting the drone ship or landing in the ocean away from and then it seems like the blink of an eye, those are all landing correctly.
And we don't even talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
It's this incredible thing that wasn't even dreamed of 5 years ago. And now it's just like, oh, it's Tuesday.
The thing to think about with Starship Heavy is imagine that, you know, when I fly to Taiwan, I get on the plane and I go to Taiwan, I'm in the air for 12 hours and I land and, you know, and then they throw the plane away. Like how expensive would airline travel be if that's how we traveled?
Bill Gates would get a lot more flack.
Yeah.
And F's in the chat for this little guy. He is most likely burned completely up in the atmosphere at this point, but he had a long service life.
Defunct NASA spacecraft returns to Earth after 21 years. So this one was not a sudden unplanned disassembly. This one was a more of a long term.
He's been retired since 2018, enjoying his orbital retirement, and now he's come to an end.
Oh.
Moving on to nonsense. We got a little bit of science nonsense here, and this is an interesting thing because have you ever read about like the mind-body connection? How you can create or solve physiological things just with your mind? I've always questioned it. I don't know how real it is, but it also seems like they also did those studies where it's like, no, prayer is actually good after a surgery, but it seems like that's totally based on optimism. Like you think things are going to be good because God's going to fix it, and then that helps or something like that. Maybe this is why.
Scientists identify a mind-body nexus in the human brain that controls things like blood pressure and eye dilation and things that are kind of considered autonomic, but it seems like you may have some limited conscious control over some of these systems.
And it's based on your motor functions. So when you're sitting still, some of those things are not happening, but if you intend to move, your body may change some of those internal systems that we thought we couldn't control based on your intentions. Does this lead to a world where we can lower blood pressure through VR? And unfortunately, Chris is not here, but I always love to get Chris's input on the horrific food-related shortage stories.
Global rice shortage is set to be the biggest in 20 years. Ooh.
Apparently, Ukraine is a big part of our rice.
Yeah. Well, I think some of their food production was downgraded to animal only because the fields may or may not have contamination. We don't know yet.
Well, they're also flooding those other European countries with cheap grain, and the grain growers in those countries are now angry about that. It's a sensitive system, that whole thing. Over in Germany, they kind of got lucky with this past winter because it was mild and they had enough natural gas to keep everything on and nobody froze to death. Next year might be a different picture.
A new era. Germany quits nuclear power, closing its final 3 plants. I mean, these are old plants that were overdue for retirement, but I would like to see some new, awesome, energy efficient nuclear plants. Maybe that's just me. No?
They say no. It's going to be all renewables, and those are coming soon. Don't worry. Anytime now.
I don't know if it's real or not, but I saw a graph posted. It's like, how did we do overnight when the wind died down and it was dark outside? And the answer was not great.
Well, we're going to just call back to an older story because, oh my God, insider.com, I hate you. It seemed insane when we read about this story, and it's like, is that really what he said? Well, they've kind of admitted to it at this point, and the excuse is a bit thin.
Top Tibetan leader says the Dalai Lama's, quote unquote, suck my tongue comment was innocent because, well, he's not into those kind of things.
I don't know about that. That's definitely an embarrassment.
Something lost in translation. Not understanding. I would have taken not understanding English well.
Now, some of the excuses that people give is that, and we talked about Tibet earlier, that the CCP might be really stirring this up.
Oh, yeah.
But the video did, and they're not denying the video.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's out of context. I don't know. Seems weird.
What context could explain that?
Just poor translation, not understanding something.
Was it in, I don't know if it might have been in English.
No, it was in English, but I don't know. I don't think English is his first language, is it?
Oh, you're saying he didn't know what he was asking?
Yeah.
So what was it? Why wouldn't they say that?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's fascinating. Well, Nintendo has a heavy hand when you anger them.
They really do.
And they will jail you, but this gentleman has done his time.
Nintendo hacker Gary Bowser released from federal prison. Although he still owes Nintendo $15 million, he's probably going to be paying them 25 to 30% of his income from now until the end of time.
He's paid about like $250 or something. Whatever prison job he had, they were taking 25% of that. I think it was $25 a month. Oh, $175 paid.
He out of $10 million. That's from his prison time. They took his prison money where you earn like $1 an hour. So $175 from that is a crazy amount of labor. Yeah, so again, this is his crime was selling hardware to make it easier to mod your Nintendo.
Disgusting.
Yeah, we need President, gamer weeb to pardon him at some point.
Yeah, which of the current presidential hopefuls you think RFK is a gamer?
I don't even think he would be pardoned by AOC, which is just sad.
God help us. Well, work from home is still a contentious topic. It seems like the tech companies want to put their foot down, but every time they do, there's a sharp barb waiting for them because people just aren't accepting it. And this fellow, he made some really dumb statements.
Yeah. Clearlink CEO celebrates workers selling family dog to come back to the office. That's a very sad time.
So he, in his, I don't know, insane mind, he thought it would be a good thing to tell the workers about a fun little anecdote where someone had admitted they sold their dog because with coming back to the office, they can't care for the dog anymore. So one of their family members had to be sold. He's since deleted everything. He's running scared, as he should. It's disgusting. And when it comes to things like our most recent leaks, the Minecraft Discord leaks, right?
Yeah.
We don't really talk much about what was in them. We talk more about the crime of leaking. And that tells you something about our press and our leaders.
Oklahoma sheriff says that the recordings of killing talk was illegal. So he was talking to some other people about killing some journalists. And turns out they're not happy about those recordings getting out.
Also, some really racist stuff going down and talking about basically, doing racist things in the police force.
Now he's not wrong. The one-party state thing, that is technically illegal. But seeing as how this was conspiracy to commit murder, I think not being charged with murder is your get-out-of-jail-free card there, not, oh, you don't have to resign.
Now, why was he mad at this journalist? Because the journalist was asking a lot of questions about another murder.
Huh, that's weird.
That the sheriff's office was involved in.
Huh, that's weird.
They called it a justified killing, but on the tape, it doesn't sound like that. And
I mean, listen, if we're going to put pervasive surveillance technology everywhere where we complain about end-to-end encryption not letting us solve crimes.
Yeah, it should start with the public servants. Yeah, you know what? Every leader of the world should have the NSO stuff on their phone.
Yeah, it's just recording everything. It's like, what do you got? It's like, oh, I get the new iPhone 4 terabyte. 4 terabyte, why do you have the 4 terabyte? It's always recording everything. It's just literally everything.
The earlier story about the British phones that were recording everything? Like, I wonder how nobody ran out of space.
Oh, they're probably sending it over to the cloud. I was like, my phone gets hot a lot.
And here's a wild story. And I guess if you know someone who looks a lot like you, watch out.
New York City woman gets 21 years in attempted cheesecake poisoning of lookalike friend. So this is wild. Somebody wanted to steal somebody else's identity and then flee to Russia.
What if, remember Dark Krista?
Yeah.
The girl, the murderer that looks so much like Krista? What if she escapes and tries to steal Krista's life?
Well, fortunately, Krista is aware of her existence, so that's fun. But wouldn't it be funny if Dark Krista learned of Krista's existence and then, through some happenstance became friends with Krista? Like, that was her MO all the time, but Krista didn't know. Krista would be naive enough she would be in danger.
If Krista shows up one day with a British accent, I'm just going to shoot her.
Shoot first, ask questions later. Makes sense.
That's usually what they do at the White House as well. But this time they were able to control themselves on account of it being a toddler.
Well, the White House grounds are safe again after a toddler breached the fence. So the toddler just stepped through the bars because they're not toddler sized, which set off the alarms immediately. And the parents got a talking to for a while, but there were no charges filed or anything like that. It's just like, what's happening?
If Joe Biden was smart, he would have done a photo shoot with that kid.
Yeah.
That would have been a great PR story. And of course, we have the big, hot, contentious gender issues that continue to be something that we argue about as the world burns. And some people take it far too seriously.
Man sentenced for threatening Merriam-Webster over the definition of female. Merriam-Webster, of course, makes dictionaries.
Why is the sub headline golf over $700 for $119?
I think that's the ad blocker on this failing,
Oh, okay.
causing some sort of wreckage.
But yeah, this fellow was upset at Merriam-Webster and also some lawmakers. And in every case, he would email them and say, "You should be shot," or "I would like to shoot you." They took that as a threat. Maybe just use a different dictionary.
Yeah, vote with your wallet.
And Flint, Michigan, remember them? They had some mismanagement in the government, but that's all fixed now, right?
Flint mayor used emergency alert system to promote his Easter egg hunt. Hey, that sounds like mismanagement. His Easter egg hunt? Yeah.
We were just talking about the British one that you can't turn off. And it's like, nah, we won't misuse it. It's only for really important stuff. So they went and kind of retconned this, and they changed, because when they introduced it, they said all the things that it would be used for, and then they've gone back and put general announcements.
Yeah.
Egg hunts.
I hate it when it's 3 o'clock in the morning and I get one of those golden alerts, and it's like, I need to figure out how to silence this.
What am I going to do?
Why is this?
Am I going to go out and start vigilante hunting for old people? And once again, we need Krista here for this one, but we couldn't pass it up because the Lord of the Rings thing is an amazing misstep from Amazon. And it seems like a lot of people are trying to get a piece of that.
Lord of the Rings fan fiction writer is suing Tolkien Estate and Amazon and is seeking $250 million as a result. They say that a large part of what Amazon had for the Rings of Power is their fan fiction.
Why would anybody admit that? I didn't really understand this one. It seems like
NRG Stadium renamed in honor of Taylor Swift concerts. So she's coming to Houston, and they're real excited about that. And so they've renamed the stadium.
But they named it from NRG Stadium to NRG Stadium Taylor's version in parentheses. I don't get that. What is Taylor's version? Like,
if this is the protocol we have to follow to avoid $100 million of FTX sponsorship, okay. Sounds good.
I don't understand what that means, but you know what? Let's honor Taylor Swift.
Taylor's version of the world is better.
What if we put her in total control? Taylor for dictator.
Emperor Swift. I'm sensing a stable diffusion chat session later. It's like Taylor Swift is emperor of the world.
The first god emperor of mankind is Taylor Swift. There's your fanfic. And the library thing, the school library and the public library is just a hot battleground. It seems that both sides want to restrict certain kinds of speech. And banning books is the way that they're going about that. And every week they find more books to ban. That's kind of how that works.
Yeah,
right? The slope only gets more slippery.
Assassination Classroom has been banned in Florida and Wisconsin schools. Apparently that's some sort of manga.
It's a manga where I take it that this character is the teacher, and the teacher is some sort of otherworldly eldritch horror. And only the children realize that. And so they're tasked with killing this teacher.
So that's like one of the Harry Potter books.
You know what? That's a great comparison.
Yeah.
One evil teacher.
Yeah.
I don't think all the teachers are evil.
No.
We should ban Harry Potter. See where that cycle goes. And here's a fun story in that, like, here's the thing that we thought was horrible, and it is horrible, and it's probably bad for us, but nature doesn't really care. Nature kind of survives in spite of us, not because of us.
Pacific Garbage Patch providing a deep ocean home for coastal species. It turns out all of the marine life that was allergic to plastic, they died a long time ago.
Now we have new and improved marine life. They also learned from Fukushima, because of all the debris that washed out to sea, that as long as something has a thing to latch onto and float, they can live in the open ocean. And it's the same is true for the big patches of plastic. So now they're becoming ecosystems. How long until we learn how to farm that?
I think we already are. There's a lot of surprising and unique biology around the radioactive waste at Fukushima and 3 Mile Island, and also in Chernobyl. Chernobyl's the farthest along.
Like those deep sea vents where the gas coming out of that is just horrible toxic stuff.
Yeah.
But there's something down there. It's like, yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think there's some sort of like cyanobacteria or something in Chernobyl, and the mechanism that it uses for capturing energy from radioactivity is very similar to photosynthesis, but it's tuned for radioactive sources as opposed to visible light. It's really interesting.
AI is going to get a hold of that, and AI is going to be like, I know how to adapt the world so this thing can thrive.
Yeah.
Just launch the nukes. This was obviously a story that CNN was sitting on for some time to wait for an April 20th release.
The CNN headline, surprisingly, is when you give a worm weed, it gets the munchies, researchers find. But like people.
So they figured out that the worms, not only did they eat more when they were exposed to THC or cannabinoids, but they also preferred the worm version of junk food. So basically like Oreos and Doritos, worm edition. They would put them in a maze and they had branches to take based on what they could smell. And they always went for the high calorie stuff.
Interesting.
But only when they were high AF.
I had a chocolate chip cookie on Tuesday and it made me a little ill.
Where would you, on the slider of enjoyment to illness, where are you?
It was not, I could tell that it was not going to be good, but it wasn't catastrophically bad, but it also didn't make me happy. And that was the most disappointing thing. It's like, this doesn't do what it used to.
The bad choices no longer give me pleasure.
Yeah.
Was it a mass manufactured cookie or like a homemade cookie?
No, it was, I was out somewhere that had a place that makes cookies, and it was a fresh, and it was like, oh,
like a bakery cookie?
yeah, it's like, I'll try that. This might not be bad because it's probably made properly, and I'm sure that there was probably animal protein in there, and that's probably part of why, but I did not enjoy it at all.
Oh yeah, if it was made with butter, that's the big question.
But it didn't. It takes a while for that to happen. But I didn't even enjoy it in the first part. So it's disappointing.
I kind of feel that way about fast food lately.
Yeah.
It's like my mind triggers me to want to get it, and then when I get it, I'm like, why did I do this? I'm not enjoying this.
Yeah.
The whole experience was bad.
It was like that. It's like maybe it'll be like it was, and it wasn't like it was. And then that's really just that's been weighing heavily on me.
I think that's just maybe a product of aging.
Maybe.
You never can go back to the first hit.
Yeah.
Those worms are never going to get as much enjoyment as they did.
It turns out processed sugar, when you've been off of it for a long time, it doesn't do the same things.
Well, in New Zealand, they have a barbaric and evil practice. And I understand that they're not good for the environment, but we must protect them because they're perfect.
New Zealand feral cat killing competition for children has been axed after backlash. It's like, yeah, there's a lot of wild cats that are really doing bad things to the New Zealand ecology.
What a wild cultural discrepancy.
Yeah.
In most of the Western world, that's a precursor to being a school shooter.
Yeah.
But in New Zealand, it's like, nah, we need this. Go murder the cats. Poor little guys.
You know, if we'd been like that in Eastern Kentucky, we might still have the native box turtle.
We're better off with the cats. What have the turtles ever done for us?
I had nightmares about this. I read this story before I went to bed, and I dreamed that an alien civilization was doing that with human beings.
Imagine one of these, runs out of power and comes down in your yard, and you have to explain it to your toddler.
Dead birds get new life. New Mexico researchers developed taxidermy bird drones. So if you saw the meme where somebody took a taxidermied cat, and turned it into a drone, it's literally that, but they're doing it with birds. But they're not very good, but they're studying how birds fly in formation. There's sensors on them, and so it fools other birds. I think it's just a messed up bird. And that's what led me to
Really messed up bird. Loud messed up bird.
that's what led me to it's like an alien civilization comes here and does that, and there's a human being like that that's just got like hair and viscera, and it's just kind of bolted together, and it's wandering around. It's like, how do you do, fellow human? And it's just this horror.
When Mufasa taught Simba about the circle of life, I don't think he was expecting this. I think this disrupts the circle. They also said that the color of the bird could affect flight patterns. That's weird.
Yeah.
I thought about you when I read this, because his number one choice, Orange Crush soda.
Yeah.
When's the last time you had an Orange Crush?
No, a long time ago.
You feel like you're done with that forever?
Yeah, probably no more.
Well, not this gentleman. He had a lot of it.
Black Bear breaks into vehicle, guzzles 69 cans of pop. Starting with orange soda, he made it through orange soda and cola and root beer and basically everything. And he was also drinking it in the vehicle, so the vehicle interior is now ruined. But
this is what the floor of your office used to look like.
Yeah, it's not great.
He wouldn't drink the diet soda.
He instinctually knows there's something wrong. I did too, but I drank it anyway.
I bet he was like, well, Orange Crush doesn't have caffeine though, does it? But he did get some cola.
Yeah.
So between all that sugar and the caffeine, I bet he was like cocaine bear for the rest of the day.
Yeah, mini cocaine bear.
Also, it's interesting, how like the pop versus soda cultural thing. Apparently, British Columbia says pop. And finally, I hope we get I could not get the Facebook stuff to load on my machine. I got some kind of block in that I've forgotten that I put in there. But we can actually see the picture of this absolute unit.
Massive cat weighing over 40 pounds has been adopted in Virginia. You got to go to the picture. Look at that. It's so cute.
Look how massive
Patches, because obviously.
I know that's animal abuse, but he's just so adorable.
He's probably not going to live more than 2 or 3 years.
So the adopter had to agree to sign a contract saying, I will stick with the weight loss program. They have him on an exercise program, a lower diet, and they had some videos of him. God, he's so adorable. He's got the heart nose and the dirty chin. What a great cat.
Maybe he was just deeply unhappy.
I think, people, they just don't monitor what they feed the cat. They just leave food out all the time. And some cats, if I left food out all the time, Toast would be that size. He won't stop eating. He'll eat till he vomits.
Mom's cat was that way in the beginning until it realized that food scarcity wasn't a thing, and then it sort of normalized.
See, I kind of thought that. If they always have food, they won't worry about it. But he just kept going. And Crouton's not like that, so it's definitely a personality thing for the cats.
Interesting.
But yeah, Patches. I'm sure Patches is a lot of trouble, but man, I would love to have him.
Probably sleeps a lot.
Yeah. And you probably have to clean him manually.
Yeah.
There's no way that he's cleaning his butt. It's just not possible.
Fun times.
Well, we'll see you next week, and we'll get the 411 on Chris's exciting hike.
Woo! We'll see you next week.
Let's do an over-under. How many ticks you think she got?
Oh man, I would be freaking out the first one that I got. That's the thing. If the more subsequent tick bites you get, the less likely you are to lose your meat allergy.
Oh, you mean it extends the problem?
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's more likely to become permanent.
How have we not wiped out the ticks? We should be working on that.
It's been really bad the last couple of years. Like the tick explosion, the tick population has exploded.
We should start a tick nonprofit.
Dedicated to the eradication of ticks everywhere.
Yeah. We'd probably catch some environmental backlash.
Train a new AI on, it's like, this must be done away with.
How can we, engagement challenge, how can we play on the name TikTok for our anti-tick league? We'll see you next week.